wondered, how are Bursa Malaysia's marketplace being monitored? Would you like to know how the marketplace is maintained orderly and fair? Welcome to Bursa Malaysia. We are the frontline regulator of the equity and derivatives markets. So, what does this mean for you? Through Bursa Malaysia regulation, we ensure the markets you invest in are orderly and fair, so that you have timely, accurate, and complete information to make informed investment decisions, are able to trade in a fair and efficient environment, have confidence in your brokers to provide secure and trusted services to you. So, how do we protect the marketplace? We have multidisciplinary teams in Bursa Malaysia regulation that focus on specific areas while collaborating with each other to provide a comprehensive network of safeguards for investor protection. We also work closely with other regulators and law enforcement agencies. Real-time surveillance of the market. We have a market surveillance team that acts as your market police. They monitor the stock market against irregular trading activities in day-to-day trading. This team uses an automated surveillance system to monitor trading in the equity and derivatives markets in real time. Should irregular trading activities be detected, this team of specialized analysts will fact-check and engage the brokers involved for their immediate action. Supervision of intermediaries. As safeguarding the integrity of the marketplace is paramount to us, our intermediary supervision team secures the protection of your trading and deposits through consistent broker monitoring and inspection. Disclosure. Continuing listing obligations and gatekeeping of listed companies or products. To be ASEAN's leading, sustainable, and globally connected marketplace, Bursa Malaysia places high emphasis on the quality of our listed companies. This begins from the approving of new listings on the exchange, through to ensuring that listed companies remain of quality through governance and compliance, as it is imperative for investors to be well informed in the fast-paced financial world. Bursa Malaysia regulations listing and corporate surveillance teams monitor companies' corporate announcements so that they are disseminated to you in a timely and accurate manner. Enforcement action is taken should there be any failure to do so, or should there be any material inaccuracies to the announcements made. As we are also a venue for listed companies' secondary fundraising, our relevant departments work together to ensure investors' funds are always used as mandated. We have a dedicated team of finance experts to examine corporate disclosures, including financial reports, so that they are accurate and timely that you can rely on. Within Bursa Malaysia regulation, we have subject matter experts that look at the various international sustainability reporting frameworks that are constantly evolving to ensure that our disclosure requirements are appropriately benchmarked. This ultimately drives the desired improvements in our PLC sustainability disclosures as well as practices. Taking enforcement action. So what happens when the persons are regulated by us? Be they brokers, advisors, listed companies, directors, or their representatives, breach our rules. Appropriate action will be taken against them. The types of action taken would depend on the severity of the breach. Suspected breaches will be investigated, and enforcement actions will be taken if the breach is proven. Our enforcement proceedings and actions are consistent and fair as cases are discussed in a robust manner through our regulatory committees, comprising independent individuals with relevant experience and backgrounds. Policy and rulemaking. Bursa regulation is the guardian to the 10 rule books of the securities and derivatives markets. Rules drawn up by the regulatory policy and advisory team are always outcome-focused. Industry or public consultations with the relevant key stakeholders will be undertaken, alongside rigorous benchmarking processes to ensure the rules are relevant, effective, fit for purpose, and on par with international standards. Each multidisciplinary team in Bursa Malaysia regulation is intertwined and interact proactively to ensure high standards in market integrity.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar brought to you by Bursa Malaysia and managed by our company LifeChamp. Our webinar title today is 10x your investment return with compounding element. So my name is Shen Chu. I'm the moderator for this session. Now, the concept of compounding can be a game changer if you understand it correctly. If you pick the right stock, compounding will work its magic to help you deliver multiple fold of return. Okay, so today we're going to learn what exactly compounding impact can do to our investment. Now, before we begin, as usual, disclaimer, whatever we share in this webinar is only for educational purpose. So in no way that we give any recommendation for you to buy or sell any listed securities I mentioned here. If you decide to make any investment decision, you're solely responsible for all your investment risk. Now, allow me to briefly introduce our speaker today. He graduated with a bachelor degree in finance from Coventry University, UK. He's a licensed financial planner and also a financial advisor representative. He is a co-founder of Cameron, in which he shares content of more than 1 million views. He has more than 12 years investment experience and trained more than 1,200 working adults to master the wealth growth strategy in 3 years. So none other than Mr. George Paul. George, how are you today?
Hi, Shane, and hi to everyone. Good day for me.
Yeah, good to see you here today. So I'll stop sharing my screen and hand over the control to you.
Thank you, Shane. Um, so to our audience today, while I'm setting up my my slides, can I just see yourself and how many of you have heard about um these wonderful things called compounding interest or the power of compounding? How many of you have actually heard of it? If you have heard of it before, just put in 111 to me, right? I just want to know how many of you actually know what I'm going to share today, because I believe for those of you who have started, investing many years ago, or even you are new to investment, compounding will be something that you might, you might somehow you will heard it from, other people or your friends, or you heard it from, the radio or some commentary. They will talk to you about, oh, the compounding interest or the compounding or power of compounding. But how is this compounding actually, going to help us, to grow our investment returns, or to make sure that our money or our wealth actually grow exponentially, along the way. All right. So today, as I'm going to share with you, how do we actually, 10 times our investment returns with the compounding element. But bear with me, because today's topic is going to be a beginner level. So it's going to be a lot more theory, but I try to make it more practical to all of you, right? And the disclaimer, as I think Shen has mentioned just now, a disclaimer as well, I need to do it because this webinar is the educational purpose only. But today, I don't think there will be a lot of stocks information they're going to be shared here, right? And then I will just go into the learning outcomes. What you can expect, throughout these 1.5 hours, of our Bursa webinar today. So first thing first, you'll understand more about what compounding is and how it works in various financial instruments. Many tell me, hey, George, is compounding only works in investment? My answer is no. Compounding works everywhere. See, when there's numbers, compounding works there. So it might work in investment, but it will also exist when there is loans, when there's credit cards. So, how compounding works, we need to know more about it. And secondly, we need to also discover the strengths and also the limitation of compound growth in the real world investment. Now, when we do the math, right, when we do the calculations, it was looks very fantastic, when you just calculate, oh my goodness, I can, double out my, investment, my money, in 2 years, 3 years, given these, specific investment returns. But there is also a limitation, some limitations of how this compounding effects will affect our real world investment. And we need to know more about it as well. And lastly, I will share with you some of the practical methods to how we can implement this compounding into our long-term investment journey. Right. So without further ado, I will just dive into my first topic of the day, which is what is compounding and why it matters. Right. So just now I see a lot of 111, right, from all of you, right? Can I just get an answer from here? What do you think is compounding? Can anyone answer me in a very layman terms, or any 3-year-old or 6-year-old kids, children will know how, we will get to understand it. Can anyone explain it to me? What is compounding as per your understanding? See, because investing is always about technical terms, all the jargons, but we try to make it like everyone can understand it, right? So since you all have heard about what is compounding power, compounding interest, can any one of you explain to me, or in your own understanding, what is compounding? Right, I'm going to share with you my understanding of compounding. So what is compounding? For me, compounding is actually the most powerful force in investing. The most powerful. No second one. They are the most powerful. Why? Because if you heard about it, Albert Einstein actually did call the compounding the 8 wonders of the world. Right? Any one of you heard it, right? Why? Because from the perspective of Albert Einstein and every mathematician, economist out there, from the past to now, right? They believe that this compounding has the power to turn ordinary savings into extraordinary wealth. Now, but there is a but, right? There is a but. How we can do it? So you can see in my screen right here, I actually put in a very simple illustration on how our money. So you just imagine our money is just like the seed of a tree, before or a seed, right, at the left-hand side. So given enough time, a seed will eventually become a tree, a huge tree or a giant tree. So what takes in between for a seed to become a tree? Can I have an answer from some of you? What do you think that what makes this seed become a tree? Okay, time. Correctly, exactly. I got it. Right, time. It is because of time that makes us that we can witness, a seed become a tree. Right. So this is why compounding is so important in our investment. Because if you're given enough time with the right investment tools or the right investment method or strategy, your wealth will grow from just some little savings you put in a savings account become a huge amount of wealth. Right. Now, when we talk about compounding and when we talk about investment, there are two different category of returns, right? First one we call simple interest. The second one is called compounding interest. Now these two are the I would say the mathematical calculations or method for us to calculate how interest work or how our investment returns generate. But let me just show you what is simple interest and what is compounding interest. Now, when we do a simple mathematic, right? I use number to show you here. A simple interest means if you invest 10,000 today, right? If you invest 10,000 today, without compounding element, okay, this investment can yield about 5% a year. Every year, it can generate you 5% return. And you invest for 10 years. Let's assume that there is no compounding element in this investment in particular. At the end of 10 years, your money will grow from 10,000, it becomes 15,000. Right, very simple. Sorry, every year, 5%. Okay, so a 5% of 10,000 is 500 ringgit. So 500 ringgit times 10 years, it becomes 5,000. So after 10 years, your investment will grow from 10,000 to 15,000. Very simple, right? But what is compounding interest? Now, when you see compounding interest, you can see the numbers is a little bit different here. Similarly, you invest 10,000 right now with a yearly in returns of 5%. But there is a compounding element in this another scenario with the right hand side one, right? So at the end of 10 years, instead of it become a 15,000, it became 16,289 ringgit. Do you spot the difference here? You know, for a similar returns, same period of time, but with compounding interest, the return is slightly higher than simple interest. All right. And if, for example, this amount is not 10,000, what if this amount is 100,000, 500,000, a million ringgit, 5 million ringgit? Do you think the difference will be huge, or it also will be a slight difference, you know, between a simple interest and compounding interest? The answer is the differences will be huge, because given different time, different amount, the differences you will see is huge, right? So let me share with you. Now, when I separate this into two comparison, you don't see the effect of it. Let me just show you in a chart where I combine simple interest, and compounding interest. Now, if you can see, if let's say we invest 1,000 ringgit, you know, for 20 years. Now, if we invest for 20 years, look at the orange color, you know, given every year, you receive 10% return, investment returns, every year, 10% for the next 20 years, okay? If it doesn't compound, your money, your capital, your investment will grow from 1,000 to become 3,000, right? But with compounding interest, the same 1,000 ringgit will now become more than 7,000 ringgit. It's a double, more than double of simple interest. Now, that's the power of compounding. Now, with this explanation, do you really know how this compounding works? Right? Or you might ask, why is this compounding effect got so huge impact on the investment compared to the one that is not interest, right? Before I move on to the second slide, I want to ask you a question here, right? Because people do tell me, George, in investment, there's always compounding. You see, the interest is always compounding. There's no simple interest here in investment. Now, let me ask you one thing. In what scenario do you think that we invest in stock market, there is a simple interest situation and your money will not grow compounding? Do you guys have any situation or any example that you can think of whereby the investment return will not be compounding, but still it will move as simple investment returns or simple interest kind of method? Do you guys have any idea? Okay, because I'm going to share with you before we move on to the next slide, so that you will get to know, oh, there's actually simple and compounding differences, but you can still do the same thing, you know. You still invest into stock market. You can still invest into the similar stock or, you know, selection of stocks. But different people, you will see their returns will be different, given if they invest in the same stocks with the same right amount of money, with a similar period of time. Let me share with you one scenario that compounding and simple interest can coexist together, right? Okay, I got one answer. US domicile ETF for simple returns is redistributing. Now, I don't think your answer is correct, but let me give you more simple, you know, a simple example. If you invest into a dividend stock, okay, if you invest into a dividend stock, now every year you receive, for example, a 6% dividend from these particular stocks, right? And investor A, for example, me, George, yeah, when I receive this dividend, I spend it, right? Because in Malaysia, we don't usually reinvest our dividend, right? So we just get the dividend in cash and we don't reinvest it. So I just use it, right? compare to my peers. For example, Kumaran, right? Kumaran, he received the dividend, and every year when he receives the money, he reinvests back into the same stock. Now, when time grow, see, when the stock price also grow, 10 years, 15 years, do you think that Kumaran's investment into this stock, let's just give it a name, stock B, right? Into this stock B, will the amount of this investment portfolio greater than mine? What do you think? Yes or no? Do you think Kumaran's investment portfolio will work better than mine? You say yes. If you think no, it will be exactly same. You put no. The answer is yes, right? Why? Because he do reinvest his dividend back into the stock market, right? Given a 6% every year. You see, I spend the 6%, but I do earn it, right? But it just become a simple return for me. Every year, 6%. But for him, the 6% will grow because he reinvests back into the stocks. Now, this is a very simple example of how compounding works in our investment. Right. Now, moving on, I'm going to share with you for the formula of compounding. Okay. Why do I want to show you? Because from this formula, if you can see the magic here, you see, or I don't call it a magic, I would say the engine of how compounding actually works. See, okay, now the compounding formula, very easy. Okay, for every one of you here, if you want to calculate, you can also do so. Future value, okay, equal to a present value times 1 plus the interest rate with the power of the period. Okay, do you get it? I hope you get it, right. Very simple calculation, and just a simple formula. Now, what do I mean the engine or the magic is within this formula? You see, there is a power of n. Okay, we call it n, right? It's actually called the number of periods. Okay, the number of periods. So this n is actually the magic or the engine of how compounding works. In another way around, we can explain it in this way. It means with a same returns across the years, your investment will still see an extraordinary effect because of time. Because you see, the other calculation is all times, right? I just takes 1 times 2, 3 times 4, 1 plus 3% times 4 times 5, right? But the number of periods, I don't times it, I don't multiply it. I use the power, I use to power it. So in a simple mathematics, if you power it, it becomes greater, right? It becomes greater. So in the power of 3, power of 4, it becomes greater, right? So this is the magic or the engine of how compounding, why compounding becomes so extraordinary, right? So let's do a simple mathematics, shall we? Okay, let's do a simple mathematics. Everyone, please take out your phone. Okay, please take out your phone. You don't need to have a financial calculator. You don't need it. Just switch on your simple calculator on your phone. Okay, and then you just click on scientific, because scientific calculator will be easier for you to do the calculation. Now, I want everyone to actually switch on your calculator. I want to let you know how to do the calculation. Because you spend time here, better you take away this formula back to you. Right. Now, let's do a calculation. You put in 100,000. So your present value is 100,000. Okay, just key in 100,000. Okay, times, let's say our interest rate per annum is 8%. Right. So 1 plus 8% equal to 1.08. Okay, simple, right? 1.08. Okay, so it's take 100,000 times a bracket 1.08. Okay, a close bracket, and let's say the number of periods is 5 years. Let's say we want to invest this amount of money, 100,000 every year, get an 8% interest return for 5 years. Okay, So you put on a power of 5. Okay. A power of 5. Right. How much is the future value that you got? Can anyone give me the answer? Wow. You are very fast. Super fast. Thank you, Hafiz. Thank you very much. And you got exactly the right answer. The answer is 146,932 ringgit. Right. So this is how future value works. This is how compounding interest works. Right. Let us do another calculation. If you don't compound it, right? If you don't compound it, we just think that we just take simple investment return. Simple return. 100,000 with 8% per annum returns for next 5 years. How much is your future value if it is not using the compounding? How much will it be? Can anyone give me the answer? Now, this is very simple. Simpler than the one you just do on the calculator. Okay. So you take 100,000 times 8%, okay, times 5. Then you will get the returns. It's 40,000. So you just add it to the 100,000. So for next 5 years, after the 5 years, with simple return, you get 140,000. Now you see the difference. From 146,000 to 140,000. There is a difference of 6,000 plus, right? So this is the compounding formula. Okay, but don't worry, you don't need to actually memorize about it, because there is financial calculator on the website, internet. You can use it, right? So what I want to emphasize here is that time is the multiplier. Okay, time is the multiplier. Now let me show you another example. Okay, another example. For example, Mr. A, B, and C. Okay, so they invested the same amount of money every month. Okay, every month. So the amount is same here. Okay, is similar for Mr. A, B, and C. But because Mr. A started at the age of 25, Mr. B started at the age of 35, and Mr. C start slightly later at the age of 45. And let's assume they stop investment at the age of 55 years old. So Mr. A have a 30 years of time period, B got 20 years, and C got 10 years. Let me show you, if they invest the same amount every month with the similar returns, what will be the amount for the different time periods. So for A, his wealth will grow to more than 700,000. Okay. For B, his wealth will only grow at about 285,000. And for C, the amount is even bad, even, how can I say, even worse. It's only about 90,000, right? So you can see, even with 3%, we invested the same amount of money every month, but because one who started earlier, who invested, more time of investment, the wealth will become 7 times greater than the one who waited. All right. And let me show you, how much did they invest every year, every month? They only invested 500 ringgit every month. And the only difference is when they started it. Now, after I show you this, do you think that for investment, we should start early? Do you all agree with that? After I show you this, can everyone agree? I believe everyone can agree with me. After I show you this, investment, we should start early, right? As young as possible, right? But not too young, not too young. Okay. So after I show you the compounding and how it calculates and everything, right? I want you to know, where do you see compounding in real life? What kind of tools or financial instrument that we will see compounding in our real life? First thing is fixed deposit, right? So a lot of people think, oh no, fixed deposit doesn't compound. No, it does. Okay, it does compound, but because of the low returns, the compounding take effects much more slower than compared to invest in stock market, right? So in fixed deposit, we will see compounding. Secondly, we will see compounding in stock dividend reinvested. If you don't reinvest it, sorry, there's no compounding. But if you reinvest it, you will see the compounding effect, okay, in the stock dividend. Thirdly will be the unit trust, okay. Why we see compounding in unit trust? Because in unit trust, your dividend, you don't usually take it out as cash, all right? So you usually will by default, it will reinvest back into your investment. So there's compounding element in unit trust. And last but not least, EPF, or we can also put in PRS, the private retirement scheme, right? So these four are the financial instruments that are very common to investors in Malaysia, and there is the compounding effect going on. So I want to emphasize one thing here, for this slide. Compounding is not limited to high-end investment. Like, for example, you need to invest into dual currency investment, some structured investment. No, compounding can be in some simple tools, like, for example, fixed deposit. See, so even something like EPF, PRS, where you and I, we get to invest, right? Once we start working, there is compounding in it. Okay, so you have probably already using all these instruments, in real life, but maybe you do not know that they have the compounding effect, within them. Okay, now, then you will start to ask, Josh, why compounding interest matters, or why compounding interest or compounding effect even exists in the world, right? I actually don't know, but this is how it works. Let me show you one thing. It's called the rule of 72. Just like I show you the calculation, right? How your money, the future value of your money, forget about it. Okay, that one you can use financial calculator to do it. Let me show you one simple trick. Okay, so you can get to understand how compounding works. Okay, how many of you heard of rule of 72? Now put in, if you heard of it, put in yes for me. Okay, how many of you have heard of rule of 72 before, and you know about it? Oh, most of you know about it. Okay, some say no. Okay, good. Now, for those who know, this is a refresher. For those who don't know, this is a new knowledge for you. So please learn. All right. So the rule of 72 means it is a shortcut to how do you calculate your money will be doubled. Okay. So how it actually works? Very easy. Okay. You take number 72 divided by the growth rate, or we say the investment returns that you are getting. Okay, and the answer you get will be the years it takes to double your money given the same investment return throughout the next years. Okay, the next few years. So for example, let me just use one of the example in the slides here. Okay, a 10%, let's say a 10%, right? If you take 72 divided by 10, it shows that your money will double, in 7 years' time. Instead of a simple returns, your money need to be there for 10 years, right? 10% for 10 years, it becomes 100%. To double, no. In compounding, it doesn't need 10 years. You only need slightly more than 7 years. Actually, 7.2 years, right? 7.2 years, then you will see your money, double. So from 100,000, it will become 200,000. From 200,000, it become 400,000 in just 7 years time. And given that your returns is consistent every year for 10%. Okay, now this is a simple trick. Next, I want to move on to why compounding matters. Okay, why? What I want to emphasize here, and why do we have this kind of a webinar today to tell you and to share with you the power of compounding. I want to highlight 3 things why compounding matters, right? First thing, I want you to know that the earlier you start investment, the greater your outcome will become. The greater outcome you receive or you achieve. Okay. Secondly, interest on interest will lead to exponential growth. Now, why we say compounding is so powerful? Because when you get the returns, you reinvest into it, the returns on your returns will lead it to an exponential growth of your wealth. And thirdly, I want to re-emphasize again here, time is your most valuable investment partners, right? So the secret to build wealth in this particular day I want to share with you isn't about chasing what is the trend, what is the heat in the market. It's not always about it. It's actually about how you stay consistent in investment with time and compounding, right? So this is why compounding matters, because it shows us and it motivates us to start investment early, to stay invested, and let the time do the work. Okay, now next I would like to move on to, after we learn about the introduction of compounding, let us move on to the power and pitfalls, the truth about compounding. Okay, because when there is a good things, there's always a opposite side of it, right? So we often heard about compounding is so magical, it's so powerful, but let me show you, the greater the power it is, the greater the pitfall it has. No, so it will backfire somehow if you use it wrongly. But let me just show you why compounding is so powerful here. Okay, let me see. Let me show you why compounding is so powerful. Because compounding is special because it starts slow. You see, this is the real story behind Warren Buffett's wealth. He is more than 90 years old right now, and he has more than 80 billion net worth. But you can see at the early stage of his life, you see, the money didn't grow as incredible as it is right now. All right, let me just show you a difference here. In his 30s, his net worth is about 1 million. It's about 1 million. In his age of 34, you see, in the time of 4 years, his wealth go from 1 million to 3 million. It is just million, right? But when time grows, his wealth will start to become 100 millions, 600 millions, billions, and now more than 50 billions, 80 billions, 85 billions. Now, this shows you a living example of how we start early, we stay invested, and we let the time do the works and do the magic for us. So Warren Buffett is always, the living example that we can use to motivate investor. We should start investment early. And this is why. Okay. Just now I have shared with you the formula of the rule of 72. So I want to show you another shortcut to let you know how your money, how your wealth can double, given the returns. So for a 3% returns, it will double in 24 years. But if let's say you can gain a 12% returns, your money will get double in 6 years. You see a huge difference here. Okay. So let me show you the key advantages of compounding first. And later on, I'm going to share with you the no for compounding. The first advantage of compounding is actually the wealth multiplier. That means the interest on interest or the returns on interest, it will become more powerful every year. And the power is growing every year. Okay, so one of the advantages of compounding is it can help us to multiply our wealth, to grow powerful every growing year. Secondly, is the time leverage, because we can leverage on time. So the longer it runs, the bigger the result that we will see. Okay, so this is one of the biggest advantages of compounding, that we can leverage on time, right? And third, hands-off growth. Now, when we talk about hands-off growth, it means that compounding can actually work passively. It doesn't need you to actually go and actively invest or actively trade the market. You don't need to every day morning 8:30 a.m. switch on your laptops, and then log into your trading accounts, start to identify, oh, what stock do I need to invest today, right? It doesn't need you to do that, because compounding works at the back. See, it works when you sleep. Even when you wake up, you are working, the pace, the compounding still working for you, right? So it is a hands-off growth, and this is the beauty of compounding. And last but not least, compounding is a goal friendly. It is very ideal for our long-term plans, because if we consider compounding and we use compounding in our investment planning or our goal planning, long-term planning, right? It will be very friendly to you, because you need lesser effort to reach your long-term goals, right? So these are the advantages of compounding, okay? But with advantages, it also there is a pitfalls. Now there are pitfalls, and that's where most of the people go wrong. Most of the people tell me, hey Josh, I invest in the stock market for past 10 years, but my wealth didn't grow. Instead, it become worse. Why? Now let me show you some other place or some other element that people are doing wrongly. First thing, impatient. Can you agree with me? Okay, I want to ask any one of you here. Let me ask a question here. How many of you, okay, you have invested in the stock market for more than 3 years? Okay, if it's you have invested for more than 3 years, put in 3. Okay, more than 3 years. If you have invested for more than 3 years, put in 3. In the stock market, if you have invested in unit trust or mutual fund, you can just put it as well. Oh, not many of you have invested for more than 3 years. Now, let me just lower down the barrier here. How many of you have invested for more than 1 year? How many of you? More than 1 year. You put in 1. If you have invested more than 1 year, put in 1. That means you have started invest since 2024. Now I can see more of you actually invested more than 1 year, right? Now, let me ask you one more question, a follow-up question, you see. Do you have any stocks that you invest and you hold for the past 1 year? Yes or no? Give me the answer, yes or no. Is there any single stock, 1 or 2 or more, that you invest and you hold for more than 1 year? You see, I only get a few answers. Okay, only a few tell me yes. That means most of you don't, right? Why? Because investor, we are impatient. I still remember, I think early this month, when the market started to drop, there's this investor of mine, also a friend of mine, he told me, hey Josh, the market is dropped. Wow, this market terrible. I'm scared. Can I sell my stocks? He asked me, do you think it's a good time to sell my investment? I said, hey brother, the market only start to drop for 2 days, and you start to show your impatience. You wanted to cut loss and whatnot, right? And then after 2 weeks, no, actually it's only after 1 week, the market started to rebound. He asked me, hey, wow, luckily, that day you told me not to sell all my stock. Now the market rebound. I say yes. So you see, so most of the retail investor or individual investor, we are impatient. Impatient is not a good thing to your compounding. All right. And that's why a lot of stock investor, they always tell me, hey, Josh, compounding doesn't work in stock investment. I say, no, it's because of you are doing it wrongly. So first thing is impatient, right? So secondly, early withdrawal. Okay, now, when you do early withdrawal, you see, you are actually taking out your profit or the returns. So you are stopping the compounding effect to kick in, because there's no return on your returns because you're taking out your returns. So cash out is also another pitfall where most of the people go wrong in their investment, because it will break your compounding cycle. Remember, when we talk about periods of time, the longer of time you grow, the higher the growth it will be. Right? Why? Because there is a circle of it. But if let's say you do early withdrawal of investment, you are breaking the compounding effect. Okay, so this is a no-no in compounding or in investment. Thirdly, it will be inflation impact. Okay, so when I mentioned just now, fixed deposit, there is the compounding effect on the fixed deposit, but we don't really feel it. Why? Because the return of our fixed deposit is too low. See, it's too low, and it sometimes is even lower than our inflation rate. You know, so when the money grow, 10 years later, you think, ayo, why the money in fixed deposit becomes so little? Because there is inflation. Okay, because there is inflation, right? And the fourth one, because of tax and fees. Okay, sometimes when we do the reinvestment, you know, or when we for example, the dividends that we get, right? Sometimes when we want to do the reinvestment, there is a costs. There is cost. See, there's cost. In other countries, there might be fees, some tax involved, right? So this will affect the compounding effect. Okay, will impact our compounding. And last but not least, wrong product selections. Okay, the same scenario goes here. If you invest all your money into fixed deposit, you're investing into a wrong product because you're putting all your money and you're expecting it to grow compounding with a 3% a year kind of return. It's like dreaming, right? But I want to tell you one thing. The sad truth is most of the people, okay, most of the people or most of the investor, they are doing one or two or maybe all of these wrong or mistakes in investment. And that's why they don't see compounding, right? And that's why they don't see compounding. So what I want, let me just continue here. Compounding is a long game. Okay, so just like the same illustration I showed you earlier in the slide, compounding is just like planting a tree. We need to water it, we need to protect it, and we need to be patient about it, right? So you don't dig it up every month to see, oh, is my tree growing? You don't do it, right? So digging up the trees or the soil just to check whether it's growing is just like you're withdrawing your money every time, right? Every regular time. And water it, what we call water it. Water it means we need to grow it in the right investment tools. And we need to, if possible, you know, sometimes we need to add fertilizer. Sometimes we need to add more soil, you know, to our to planting our trees. What does it mean in investment? We need regular injection of capital. We need to grow it organically, and we need to also grow it, you know, by the weight of injection more capital into it. Right? This is how investment is always related to planting a tree. Right? So you don't see the magic in year one, but in the 5 years later, 10 years later, you will start to see the magic. Okay, now so I just want to summarize the benefits and also the pitfall of it, and to highlight a few more, I want to do a remarks here. Please avoid early exits in your investment unless you have already hit your investment goals, or for that particular reason you can withdraw it for your, you know, for to just do what you plan to do. But if there is no planning of it, please don't do early exits. Okay, secondly, please monitor inflation and also taxes, because it might impact our returns. Okay, and last but not least, don't expect magic overnight. Okay, like I mentioned just now, compounding is a marathon. Okay, compounding is a marathon. So don't stop early, don't stop halfway. Okay, and don't expect you run, then suddenly you have reached the destination of 42 kilometers just in front of you. You don't expect it, right? So you need to train, you need to actually run, you need to take time for you to end this marathon. Okay, now, all good here? Okay, is everything all good? Good, just reply me, good. Okay. Right, if everything good, let us move on to the 10x strategy. How do we actually 10x our returns using the compounding the smart way? Okay, I believe most of you already know the answer. So there's no special of it. If we want to 10 times our return using compounding, there are 3 core compounding accelerators here. They will turn this compounding into effect. First thing is the time. Secondly is the returns. And third will be the frequency. Now, frequency means how frequent you inject new capital into your investment. So the 3 core compounding accelerators here, the first one will be start early. Okay, start early because time allows us to compounding to grow exponentially. So you don't wait. If for today you haven't invested, you are a beginner, you never invest before. From today onwards, I want you to start doing things like you start to learn how to research on stocks market. You start to open your trading accounts. You start to do something, to do some investment. Okay, because don't wait. You just wait for 5 years, 10 years, and you will see the other person will grow even higher and better than you. And the second core compounding accelerators here is to reinvest everything. Like I mentioned, the frequency, into reinvest everything. Because when we reinforce the earnings, it will create a compounding snowball. And this is called the snowball effect, right? So what do we reinvest? We may reinvest our dividends, our capital gains, when we earn from that stock appreciation, stock price appreciation, when we sell it off, we get the capital gain. Don't use this return and go and buy cars, buy bags, don't. You put it back into your investment account and generate returns again. Okay. And thirdly, to increase the frequency, because more contribution, you will get more compounding cycles. Okay, because your money grow, you have new fresh money come in every month, every quarters, or every half yearly. Okay, so when these 3 accelerators work together, even if let's say you can't invest a huge amount of money, I don't have 100,000, I have 200,000, I can start with 1,000, but I put all these 3 core compounds into my investment, then you will see a huge returns coming from your investment. So time as your growth engine. Okay, I've shown you this chart earlier. With the same money amount, same returns, just different time frame. You start small, it's okay, because you need to start now, because time is your growth engine, right? And to reinvest the dividend, let me show you the a result from S&P 500, the Standard & Poor 500 returns, index returns. Just a simple returns. S&P 500 with or without reinvest. You can see the differences is huge there, right? Look at the white and the green line. The white line is you don't reinvest your index dividend returns. You don't reinvest it. And the green one is where you reinvested all your dividends. And you can see across time from 1980s to 2020, you can see the differences. I think it's more than 4 times. It's more than 4 times. So that's why dividend reinvestment plan can actually be a game changer if you invest in the right stocks. Okay. This one I also wanted to highlight just to show you how frequency matters, because if you inject deposit amount into your investment by monthly or by yearly, you will see the growth will be different. But of course, this one we show you is the Standard & Poor, the ETF index, the S&P 500 index. So you will see there's an up and down, but over the years you can see the returns is growing, right? And if you look at the yellow color, sometimes it is better than green colors. It's because you do monthly deposit, so your money compound even more times than yearly deposits, right? And this is what we call the dollar cost averaging effect as well. Now, so what are the compound friendly tools that we can use right now in design our investment portfolio, and put it into our investment? First thing you get, I think is the 3 are the simple one that I shared just now early in the slide that I say in real life investment, these are the investment tools that we will always see, right? ETF, dividend stocks, and unit trust. But let me show you another more. Robot advisories. Okay, how these robot advisory help us, because they can do automatic dollar cost averaging. They can do reinvestment for you, and yeah, these are the tools that we can actually consider. And the fifth one will be REITs, you see. So REITs is something similar to the dividend stocks, but we get the return from the real estate trust, instead of the company's dividend profits, right? So these are the compound-friendly tools that you can consider to add it into your investment portfolio. Okay, now, next, I would like to share with you the growth simulation of a 100,000 ringgit investment with different returns, with a different methodology, whether you use simple returns or you do reinvestment, and whether you have top up or deposit new money into your investment every month. So let us look at fixed deposit. If you have 100,000 ringgit and you invest into fixed deposit with the return of 3%, in the next 20 years, it will grow to become 180,000. Okay, with compounding. Remember, fixed deposit is compounding friendly tools. Now, if let's say you invest into stock market and it yield 8% a year, but there's no reinvestment involved, right? So your wealth will still grow with compounding. For 100,000, it will become a 466,000 after 20 years. But if you invest into the same stock market with annualized 8% return, and you reinvest 500 ringgit every month back into the investment portfolio, after 20 years, you can actually see your money will grow to become a 750,000 compared to a 460,000 and the 180,000 in fixed deposit. Now, this is what I want to mean the core compounding accelerator. That means you need to always inject or deposit or reinvest your returns or new money or new funds into your investment portfolio. Right? Now, over here, so far so good, everyone? So far so good? Great. Okay, can see many say good. Now, let me move on to the case study. Okay, the case study here, how the growth stimulated and what are the missteps we need to avoid, right? So, like I said just now, behind every big numbers, there's always time, habit, and reinvestment involved, right? So people always see, oh, these people, they got 100,000 million. Sorry, they have had 100 million. They have 1 million, 5 million. Wow, they are like only working as an engineer. How come they have 100,000, 500,000, 1 million ringgit kind of investment portfolio? Now we always think these people must be very lucky lah. He has a rich dad, he has a rich mom, or a rich family. It is true. Not always. Not always, because if this person know how to do investment, know how to do consistent compounding in his investment, and he has the habit on how he reinvest his amount or put in new deposit into the investment portfolio, his kind of wealth will also grow to 1 million, 2 million, 5 million compared to you doing nothing, right? So let me tell you, real wealth is built quietly over time. Okay, now let me give you an example, a true example here. Okay, Cindy and Paul. Okay, now Cindy, he invests 500 ringgit every month. Okay, and he reinvests all the dividend that she received and put it back into her investment. And she invested for the 10 years period. With the annual return on the stock itself is 6%, together with a 5% dividend from her investment returns, investment portfolio. Compared to Paul, okay, Paul invests into similar stock, the same stocks as Cindy, and he also invests 500 ringgit every month. But one thing that she did differently than Cindy is that she withdraw all the dividend as cash and spend it So for the next 10 years, the return is still similar, 6%, but there is 0% dividend reinvested. And let me show you how this will work. Okay, oh, I don't have it. Oh, yeah, I have a number at the back of it, right? I can tell you, okay, not me tell you lah, I want you to do a wild guess. How much do you think after these 10 years will the Cindy's investment portfolio by percentage, greater than the one with Paul? How much is the percentage greater than Paul with Cindy? Can anyone give me a wild guess? 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%, 100%. Just a guess, just a guess. Okay, I can have an answer of 10%. Can I have more answer? Can I have more answer? So, okay, I got 30%. I need more answer. And I tell you 30% is not even close to the actual result. Not 30%, not 10%. Anyone? Any wild guess? I don't think now you have more times to do the calculation. So don't do the calculation. Just give me a number. Okay. Not 10%, not 30%. Or of course, it wouldn't be 5 times. Kennedy, it wouldn't be 5 times because it's only 10 years and 6% return. If you calculate 72 divided by 6%, do you know how many is to get double this thing? Right? Okay. HS told me 50%. Okay, closer. So the answer is 60%. Cindy's wealth compared to Paul's wealth after 10 years will be 60% different. Okay, 60%. Now let me show you an example. If, for example, they are invested into this Maybank, okay, you can see in the past 10, 11 years, in the past, Maybank have never failed to pay dividend. Okay, never failed to pay dividend. And we can all agree that Maybank will pay more than 50 cents every year, given the past track record showing that they actually given out more dividend, more than 50 cents. Okay, so let's just assume this Cindy and Paul, they invest into Maybank at the price of 10 ringgit. Okay, and every year this Maybank will generate a 5% dividend. Let's just assume they invest, they just give us a 50-cent dividend. It is a 5% yield. So you imagine, today Paul and Cindy, they invested into Maybank together. Every month they invest more of 50 ringgit every month. And this Maybank stock price actually grows 6% every year. Let's just assume. But Paul doesn't take up the dividend and reinvest it. Instead, he used the dividend. But Cindy, she reinvested the dividend back into the stock, Maybank. So after 10 years, you can see green color. Okay, green color is where Cindy's money will be. Okay, green color will be where Cindy's money will be. Okay, so this is the difference. Okay, this is the difference. All right, now okay, so this is the amount of money, guys. Can you see it? For 10 years, okay, the end balance will become 111,000. But for Paul, okay, for Paul, the money is only 81,000. See? So different, right? For Cindy, it is 110,000. But for Paul, it's only 81,000. So there is the differences here. You see? Okay, this is what we call the compounding. Even they both have compounding interest, but because one you do reinvestment, one you don't reinvest it. Okay, so compounding and inflation is always the hidden enemy of us, right? And over this slide, you can see the amount that I show you here. You see, the amount that I show you here is different from the earlier slide that I show you. Here is 180,000. Here is I think this is about 400,000. This is 750,000, right? But over here, given the similar scenario, but inflation kicks in, guys. Inflation kicks in, and just assume inflation of 3% in inflation rate. So our real rate of return will become 0% for fixed deposit. Let's just assume you're getting 3% every year, right? But inflation is also there. And inflation is also compounding, guys. Inflation is also compounding. So your fixed deposit, you invest for the next 10 years, 20 years, with the same kind of inflation returns and the similar interest return, your 100,000 will still be 100,000 worth after 10 years and 20 years. Now, this is what we call the inflation. And the amount here is not the actual amount, but this is the purchasing power of your money. Okay? Because inflation grows. All right. So far so good. I hope that you are good. Okay, because I think I might getting into too much of technical at the end of it. So let me get into the last part of our today sharing. Time flies, huh? We are almost at the end of our webinar. Let me show you what are the action plan that you can do starting from today to make this compounding actually work for you. That it sounds good. That it sounds good. If you want to know how you can actually do it, put in good. Put in good for me. Put in good for me. All right, put in good. Okay, put in good if you are ready to let me show you what are the action plans that you can do. Okay, now I see a good engagement here. Let me just move on. Okay, with the last part of our today sharing. Okay, but don't come and hit me, because the action plan I'm going to share with you is actually very simple. It's something that simple until you might not think that, oh, Josh, is this the action plan that you want to propose to me? Okay, but yes, it is very simple, but not many investors do it. Okay, so today I want to re-emphasize it. Your compounding game plan starts here. How do we do it? We have 5 steps here. The first step, always set a clear financial goal. Okay, because when you want your money to work for you, you must give your money a clear job description. Am I right? When you are interviewed for a job, before you even send your resume or your CV to the company, you will check, hey, what is the job description of this particular role? Am I right? So when even in career, when you're looking for a job, you will look at what do I need to do. The same thing goes back to your investment. If you want your money to grow, if you want your wealth to grow, you must give your goal, give your money a direction. Hey, what are the goals that we want to achieve? Okay, so your money know where to work, Your money know where to work and where to, find the good return for you. So the first thing is always set a clear financial goals. Okay, so if you don't know how to set a financial goal, fine. Today I share with you. First thing first, decide what is your why. Why you want this amount of money, in X amount of times. Let's say at your retirement age, how much do you think you need? Why? Why you need it? Because of retirement or because you want to, live happily? Decide your why first. Okay, what are the end goals that you want? Your envision. And then you set a SMART goal. Now, SMART is very simple and very common. You can just Google it if you don't understand it. SMART basically means your goal need to be more specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and also time-bound. That means it need to have a timeline. Okay, always set a clear financial goal. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, this similar action plan I actually did share during this Pusa webinar, but I can't remember when did I share it. If you wanted to do look back on what did I share, I think you can try to look me up on YouTube, on Live Chat or Pusa webinar. I think I have actually shared how do we set the SMART goal as well, right? If you have times, you want to grow to, you really want to learn it, go and look up for our videos, right? So this is the first step. Now, second step, after you have set your goals, right? So next thing is to choose the compound-friendly investment vehicle. Because when you have set your goals, you know how much you need to invest. You know how much return that you are looking for. Then you need to start identifying what are the tools that I can implement, input into my investment portfolio so that I can grow my wealth. After 10 years, 20 years, I can hit and achieve my goal. Now, this is very important. Because you don't want to set a goal that required every year 10% returns, but you only invest into fixed deposit. How are you able to reach your goal? It's impossible, right? It's impossible, right? So you need the step 2, you need to always choose the right investment vehicles. Okay, choose the right one. Third one, after you have choose the right one, automate your contribution. Because people, we are very forgetting, right? We are forgetting people. We don't usually set a limit or set a habit to ourselves. Hey, every month you need. Do anyone of you actually set an alarm or a calendar to remind you every month to do investment? Do you have that kind of alarm for you? Or you just put it into a to-do list every month? Anyone of you do it? No, right? I does it. Because I need to know every month I need to do investment. So every month I need to automate my investment. If you don't want to do it manually, you can always use some investment tools or platform that can allow you to do auto dollar cost averaging, or what we call the regular savings plans, or to invest your money every month into your investment portfolio. Okay, so you can always do that every month or every quarter. You can always set it. I believe there are few investment platform in Malaysia. I think they are the trading organization under Bursa Malaysia. There are a few of them that can actually allow that to happen. If I might share a few more. I think Mumu is one of it. FSM1 is also one of it. They can allow you to do auto investment every month. Okay, so these are the few platforms that you can actually look it up. If you wanted to actually open an account, can always find out with Bursa Malaysia. I think the My Bursa place can actually help you. Or if you have any friends, or if you know somebody, you can always ask them for a referral code. Okay, now step 4 is always stay the course. Now the first 3 steps are the basic. Now the step 4 is stay the course, because you remember when I say the pitfall of compounding, somebody just want to withdraw it, or they just don't stay the course as long as possible. So the golden rules here is don't withdraw early, don't panic when the market drop, just like what happened early this month. Don't switch products too often. If this investment tool doesn't generate returns for the consistent 2 to 3 years, then it's time for you to change it. But don't invest for half year and then you say, oh, this is not moving, I need to change to another products or another vehicles. Don't do that too often, right? And to protect your compounding process, monitor it every year, at least every year. But don't monitor it every week, because you can't take in the emotion effect if you might have when every week you go and check, oh, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. You'll get emotion attack, right? So don't. And then focus on time horizon. Okay, focus on your investment plan. Like, let's say you have 10 years of investment, always focus on that instead of just focus on, oh, wow, this market drop, wow, I takut. Okay, don't. And remember, slow growth is still a growth. Okay, don't care even it's a slow one or a fast one, it's still a growth. And most importantly, it must fit into your investment plan. And last step, okay, this is the investment calculator that I want to show it to you. I wanted actually to share it with you. I have the link. I share it in the, hold on, let me see if I can copy and paste it. Oh, I can't. Let me just type it while I speak. Okay, I actually wanted to share this calculator to you because you don't need to do the manual calculation like I did. Okay, just now when I share with you, how do we do the for future values, how do we calculate it? Use this calculator, and when you set your goals, use this to calculate how much you need to invest every month, every year. What are the returns you need to get to achieve your goals? So this is the calculator that can help you to plan how to 10 times your investment return using compounding, right? And with that, I have covered everything of my today's sharings. I hope you learned some things, and just some recaps for you is that always set your goals, pick the right vehicles or investment tools, automate your money habits, stay invested, and revisit it every year or review it every year. And the last but not least, the best time to start is always yesterday. So the second best time is today. So if you have not started investment, today is a good timing for you to invest, right? With that, thank you very much. I pass back to Shane for any Q&A.
Thank you so much, George, for sharing with us the impact of compounding and how it can help us to 10 times our return. Yeah. So if you have any question to ask our speaker today, please write your question in the Q&A box. Right? Not the chat box. Yeah, write them in the Q&A box. Okay, George has also shared the calculator, but George, you need to set your response to everyone, not host and panelists.
Thank you.
Okay, so everybody can
Thank you
see
for
it.
reminding me that set this to
Yep,
everyone so that everyone can get the calculator.
there's an investment calculator that he shared in the chat. So the first question I see on my screen is asked by Rusli. He's asking, right now market is pretty bearish in market drops. Sometimes when market drop, right, it may look like it will never rebound. So for instance, the example he gave is Petronas Chemical. So what should investor do if we already invested a lot, but it doesn't seem like it's rebounding?
Okay, great question from Rusli. Let me differentiate for you. When we talk about market drop, it talks about if the market or the share price drop because of the market sentiment, like this recent times, right? When the market drop is because of the reciprocal tariff and whatnot, right? And it caused the market to drop. Now, when we say don't sell or don't panic during market drop, it's always because this has nothing to do with the fundamental of the stock, right? But I think, Rusli, your question will be, if let's say the stock price drop, for example, the Petronas Chemical, and it just seems like it will never rebound, how should we do? Okay, so my answer to is that for this one is a different story, because it's about how we actually value this company, or how do we see the value in this investment or in this stock, for us to invest it in a long term, for the company to actually realize its valuation. This goes under fundamental investment, okay, or what we call fundamental analysis, where we need to find out, is this company a growth stock, or why do I invest in it? Is it because I want to invest it because of the dividend, or I invest in it because of the growth story of this company? Okay, I give you an example. I think last year or 2 years ago, I did share one topic on Bursa webinar about the dividend trap or the value trap. I shared about how invest into a value stock might be a trap. Okay, because most of the people think that I invest into a particular stock, maybe because of their dividend yield is good, but because the company have no fundamental, or their fundamental has gone bad, the company performance is not performing, right? And it caused the share price to drop. And for investor, if you invest into stock like this, you will think, hey, why my stock never rebound one? It's keep on dropping. It's keep on drop when others are profiting, but my stock is dropped. So you might have this kind of confusion. That might be because of you invest into a wrong stock. So it goes back to different kind of a thing where you need to learn how to do value investing, how to do fundamental analysis, for you to actually realize to avoid the trap and to invest into the right stocks, right? But even if you invested into a right stock, when the market sentiment is bad, just like the recent months, when the market sentiment is bad, the market will still drop. But if the fundamental of the stock is good, it will rebound eventually. Eventually, it will rebound. But give it time. Okay. So for Rusli, you need to really go re-evaluate back to the stock, for example, Petronas Chemical that you invested in. Is there any fundamental or any performing catalyst in the future for the share price or for the company to grow? I think that will be more relevant for you. All right. I hope they answer your question.
All right. So Lukman wants to ask this question. is it good if we invest in gold currently, or it does not apply to gold in today's topic? So, would you advise, consistent investing into
Okay.
gold?
First of all, I'm not a pro gold kind of investor. The reason is very simple. Gold is kind of a commodities for me, and to invest into a commodities, there's no underlying value of it. Right. For example, what we mean by underlying value is that when we invest into a company, we are investing into the business. So the underlying fundamental or the underlying value of this investment or the stocks that we invest in will be the growth of the business itself. But for gold, there's no fundamental value of it. How do you value if the gold worth 5,000 per ounce, 6,000 per ounce? Who value this? Nobody. So for me, I don't invest in gold, right? But does compounding works in gold investment? Yes, it does. If, for example, you trade gold price. For example, from 2,000 to 3,000, you invest into it, you earn the capital gain, you reinvest back your gold, your returns back into your investment. That's where compounding will works. But I don't think it is good time to invest into gold currently, because it has rarely too much. So when we talk about when a stock rally too much, it's time for you to take profit, because it's time where the market might drop. I think this is the kind of situation where I see gold will be, but not so soon, because I foresee the volatility of the market will still remain for at least another 2 to 3 months. Because our Donald Trump just mentioned that he posed the reciprocal tariff for 90 days. So it will be I think it will be reopened on the early July. So during this period of time, all the uncertainty will still be there. So I think the market volatility will still be there. Yeah. So for me, yeah, that's the market condition.
Following your comment, right? There's this question by Mahalingam, who would like to ask, during the Trump administration in the last presidency, the market also was quite volatile. So traders tend to go for medium-term kind of holding. So what is your view on this?
You are right. You are right, because when there is volatility, especially when Trump is in place, there's always volatility. So for trader, they don't really can do short-term invest trading, because the market might just, when Donald Trump just tweet, or he can just come and say something, then the market suddenly just give you a sharp drop. So that's where the investor or the traders, especially traders actually, it might impact or affect their investment strategy planning. But for investor, it's actually a good time for us to actually start to looking into some value stocks, some stocks that we are interested with, given they have a huge value proposition in the future, they have a growth story in the future. I think this is the time for us to look into it. I just give you an example. If you look out for articles about how much cash that Warren Buffett is holding right now, you will relate to what I answer to you. It's because for investor, volatility period is the best investment period for us as a value investor. So don't care about what trader do. We as an investor, we must know this is a good timing for us. But we also need to understand, although it is a good timing for us, we don't really time when will this volatility end. We don't time the market, because we cannot time the market. So what we can do is when our watch list, the value stock that we are looking at, we are monitoring, when they are in the undervalue territory, we can start accumulating. When I say start accumulating, start small. Don't all into the stock, because we don't know when will this volatility end, right? So start small, start accumulating. Then when the market started to rebound, you will see the trend. So when you see the trend, you have more confidence, you can buy in even more, So this is for investor, but in particular. So I hope that I have answered your question.
Thanks, George. So Shu would like to ask, how do you do a dividend reinvestment plan again?
Okay. 2 ways for you to do dividend reinvestment. the best way to do the dividend reinvestment is when the stock or the company, the listed company themselves offer you with the dividend reinvestment. For example, Maybank. Okay, why I mentioned Maybank is because I'm the investor of Maybank in the past 10 years. I hold the stocks until now, right? For the dividend reinvestment plan, if the company did offer to you, okay, you can always see the price that they give it to you is actually lower than the market price. Now, when you do dividend reinvestment that way, basically you are actually earning on the capital gain as well. Now, you can do it this way. The second way that you can do is, for example, if let's say your dividend is not huge enough, for the banks, for you to implement the listed company's dividend reinvestment plan in place for you, what you can do, take the cash, put back into the market, buy back into the same stocks. For example, let's say you have a stock called, let me give you an example, REITs, okay? Let's say you have IGB REITs, Pavilion REITs, okay, whatever REITs that you have, right? Every month or every 3 months or every quarter or every half yearly, you will get your dividend. Am I right? So when you get a dividend in cash, you withdraw it from your savings account, invest back into the same REITs, okay, into the same REITs, into it. So this is how we can do dividend reinvestment, the manual way. Okay, so this is what we call the dividend reinvestment. Basically, how you can do in Malaysia.
All right. So let's do one last question. So this question is by Shun Ken. Do you think Bursa is a good place to do value investing?
The answer is yes, guys. I'm speaking on the Bursa webinar, but that's just joke. Yes, Malaysia is actually a good place for value investing, and that's why I have been invested for the past 12 years in Bursa Malaysia in particular, using value investing method. I'm not a trader, I'm a value investor, and I tell you, value investing works well in Malaysia, but said enough, we don't have really a lot of quality value companies. So it's a test to our fundamental analysis. How good is our skill to identify and to find out the stocks that have the value, they are undervalued, and they have the growth potential. I can share with you, in the past 12 years of investment experience in Bursa Malaysia, I have actually 3 stocks that I doubled the share price. My investment actually doubled. I have 3 stocks, and this is a testament of how value investing works well in Malaysia. Okay, so don't believe others that tell you Bursa Malaysia is not a place for you to do value investing. It's a lot of goreng stocks here. I somehow disagree with that, because yes, there are a lot of goreng stocks, but there are still some good companies, some good business here that are waiting, value investors to identify. Okay, but what stocks I cannot tell you lah. I cannot give you recommendation here. This is the disclaimer we have published earlier, this presentation, so I cannot share with you what stocks. But yes, they are value investing. You still can do it in Malaysia. All right.
All right. So thank you so much, George, for sharing us this topic. So we'll have learned how do we 10x our portfolio with the compounding element. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, you just listened to the co-founder of E Cameron, Mr. George Po.